Chapter 7 is about applicant screening. Electing tenants is likely to be one of the first issues on-site managers, leasing representatives, and regional managers face. It is also one of the most important issues in the operation of our buildings. We can limit management difficulties by properly preparing a tenant selection plan and applying it to everyone who inquires about renting at our buildings. A well-thought-out plan will be far more effective than a gut instinct approach to tenant selection. All apartments within the property will be leased in accordance with all applicable fair housing laws, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, sex, national origin, ancestry, familial status, military discharge status, marital status, age, sexual orientation, or handicap of the applicant. Failure to perform basic background checks can result in a nightmare situation where the tenant not only refuses to pay rent, but also destroys the building and its reputation. The end result is a combination of emotional stress, financial burden from loss of rental income, and possibly obnoxious tenants that may also drive repair costs through the roof and drive other good tenants away from this community. Though it is possible to evict problem tenants, evictions can take months and hundreds of dollars to accomplish. A good tenant selection plan will not guarantee that you will not have a bad tenant, but it can help lessen the risk. A good plan carefully applied to every applicant will also provide safeguards against possible violations of fair housing laws. The building owner and managers must set the standards for occupancy, income, and previous rental and credit history. A tenant selection plan creates objective measures that can be used to determine which applicants are more likely to be good tenants. Make sure property has the following information: a non-refundable application fee. For example, in 2021, we are charging $50 per applicant. Also, it's important to ask how many people will be residing in the residence. Remember, no more than 2 people per room plus 1 extra in the living room. This is our 2+1 formula. The fact that an applicant meets the eligibility requirement does not mean that the applicant will be a suitable tenant. The prospective tenant must be able to fulfill his or her lease obligations. In making this determination, management will consider various criteria along with any related explanations offered by the applicant concerning the facts involved, including changes of circumstances. Let's first talk about rejections. A rejection of an applicant may be based on one or more of the following criteria. Number 1, insufficient or inaccurate information on applications. Number 2, credit and financial standing. Management will consider the applicant's history of financial obligations, including timely payment of rent, outstanding judgments, or a history of late payment on bills. If management rejects an application based upon the credit report, management will give the applicant the reason for rejection and the name of the credit bureau that performed the credit check. Applicants will also be given the opportunity to have corrections made on this report. Management will take into account inability to verify credit references. Lack of credit history will not cause an applicant to be rejected, although in such circumstances, management may require that a person with a history of creditworthiness guarantees the lease. In other words, management may require a cosigner. Another reason for denying residency will be the applicant's history of residency. Management will verify the documents that the previous 2 years of housing for each applicant, including applicants who are homeowners or lived with parents and guardians. As part of the review, management will consider whether the applicant or any other person who will be living in the unit either has a history of criminal convictions for the acts involved in physical violence to persons or property that endangered the health and safety of other persons, or that involved the manufacture or distribution of controlled substances, or is currently addicted to or engaged in the illegal use of controlled substances. Management will consider all circumstances regarding criminal activity as well as the period during which this occurred. Management will consider unsanitary housekeeping by the applicant. This criteria is not intended to exclude households whose keeping is only superficially unclean or disorderly, if such conditions would not appear to affect the health, safety, or comfort of other residents. During the application process, it is very important that management request email, phone number, and other contact information of all applicants so that we can let them know if they've been rejected. The tenant selection plan for applicant screening is as follows. We will approve credits over 650. Income has to be at minimum 2.5 times their rent. Their estimated disposable income must be over $1,500. 90% of their accounts must be in good standing. No bankruptcies in their records, no evictions in their records, and no felonies in their records. The system will automatically approve any applicants that fall under these categories. The second category for applicant screening is when the system approves an applicant with conditions. This may happen if an applicant has a credit score between 500 and 649, only has 2 times rent income, has 2 to 5 accounts in bad standing, and has a bankruptcy in the last 7 years. Keep in mind that the system will automatically deny any applicants with a credit under 500 whose income does not meet the 2 times threshold. Their estimated disposable income is under $1,500 a month. They have 5 or more bad accounts. They have any eviction, or they have a violent weapon-related crime against a person in the last 5 years. The last thing the system will deny an applicant for is insufficient information provided. For those applicants that are approved with conditions, we will either require a double deposit or a cosigner. Keep in mind that we cannot legally require both. For military applicants as of 2021, we cannot require a double deposit, but we can in fact require a cosigner and a letter of explanation, along with a notarized letter committing to pay rent on time and follow the rules set forth in the lease agreement. Even though this letter is not legally material, it helps establish that we're a serious company and that we need them to commit. After their background check is completed by the system, we also do our additional background check by going to the Superior Court of the county they reside in. For example, if they reside in San Diego, we would go to www.sdcourt.ca.gov, go to Access Court Records, then choose Online Case Search, then click on Party Name Search and search for both criminal and civil records pertaining to this applicant's name. Number 3, in addition to the background check done by our system and the background check done in the Superior Court of the person's residency, we require a previous landlord reference. This is called the landlord verification form, and we always require this form to be sent to the current landlord and previous landlord. This is important because current landlord might be trying to get rid of this tenant and will say or give us good references or neutral references, but the previous landlord might not be inclined to lie or give us wrong information. Number 4, we always want to inquire how many people will be residing in the apartment. Anyone over the age of 21 must apply and get approved. Number 5, we will always require employment verification from the employer. Number 6, the income verification. They can now get verified via Appfolio, where they must provide a bank account. Please let applicants know that if they get verified via Appfolio, it is faster and more efficient. Or they can provide 2 months of current pay stubs and 3 months of bank statements confirming their income. Please note that the pay stubs must be the most current pay stubs. We've had the situation where a person utilizes old pay stubs and they are no longer at that job. Finally, for Section 8 applicants, we must have voucher information and their Section 8 workers' contact information. The voucher amount should be double-checked with the Section 8 worker, and the relationship should be established by on-site manager and regional manager. Documentation, documentation, documentation. It is very important that management document every step of the tenant selection process. Applicant files will be maintained by management in a physical file, uploaded to AppFolio, and thirdly, in Google Drive as an extra copy.